Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Randall McClure. This is the McClure's Reaction Channel review, look at, make fun of stuff channel. Today we have a Fox Business news clip here. This is trade wars are easy to start, very hard to stop, with economist Thomas Sowell. If you don't know who economist Thomas Sowell is, then you're da-da-da.
Next guest worries about solutions that come out of our nation's capital because invariably, when stocks go down, not so much when stocks go up, but when they go down, the government tries to get involved and try to heal the process. It is a well-intended sort of a pattern on the part of Washington, and he writes very well about it in Discrimination and Disparity.
Oh, apologize, guys. Let me slow it down here.
It's out tomorrow. It's noted author. We've had him once or twice on this show, and you know him very well, Thomas. So, Thomas, very good to have you. Thank you for taking the time.
Thank you for having me.
Let's go first, if you don't mind. I do want to attach some of these news developments, the big sell-off going on Wall Street, and it could be short-lived by day's end, it could be gone. But invariably, we have seen Washington intervene when it seems to think that people have been poorly treated or unfairly treated. It's a big theme in your book, not the market part, but advise people on what happens when they own stock and why the government might not want to do that.
Well, you know, Karl Marx, of all people, once said that crack brain meddling by the authorities can make any crisis worse. So it's not just
crack brain meddling by any authority will make it worse.
People on the right who criticize government intervention of the kind that they have. I've never tried to predict the stock market, thank heaven.
You're a wise man. You're a very wise man. You know, Thomas, one of the things, though, we talk about the government's role here. The president, as you know, is trying to extract concessions from those who he says have been dumping steel and aluminum on our shores. And they're responding in kind now, threatening a tit-for-tat action that could go global. Now, I know you have called these not so much tariffs, but trade-offs back and forth. Do you worry that this thing goes out of control?
Oh, absolutely. I happen to believe that the Smoot-Hawley tariffs of 1930 had a lot more to do with the Great Depression than the stock market. Unemployment was nowhere near as low the first year after the stock market as it was in the first 5 months after those tariffs went in. And it's like many kinds of wars. It's very easy to start those kinds of wars. It is very hard to stop them because they grow completely out of control. The idea that we have to have a budget surplus that's better than a deficit is completely contrary to what all the evidence shows. During the Great Depression of the 1930s, we had trade surpluses. It didn't do us a bit of good. During the prosperity of the 1990s, we had trade deficits that didn't hurt the prosperity at all. This is a number that there's less to it than meets the eye.
All right, well, that would be news to the president who's made it a cause celeb. Do you think it's a mistake that he focuses so much on the countries with whom we have a trade deficit or industries that aren't? Go ahead.
Conceivably, a catastrophic mistake depends on how far he wants to push it, in defiance of what more experienced people around him may be telling him.
You know.
Okay, guys, I'm not reacting much. There's not much to say. I'm just listening intently. Thomas Sowell is a remarkable person to me, and I always find myself just kind of paying attention to it.
The reason why I kept echoing that theme with you, I've been reading a lot of the European press, the English versions that I get, and a lot of them have been saying, almost to a publication, the president is unleashing something he might regret. You seem to agree.
You can't control it. You start it and you can't stop it, and that's the bad part. If this is something he could put in, and after a month or two he sees it's not working, he'd stop it. No, by that time it's acquired a life of its own. Other countries will already be taking their retaliatory measures, and the net result is that all the countries put together are going to lose because they'll cut down the total volume of international trade as they did in the 1930s.
You know, I always see government as sort of like this giant, well-intended beast, and I don't mean to disparage it, but you do it far more eloquently than I do. Where it tries to correct ills that it sees. Some very obvious, some maybe not so obvious, but going against the grain of common sense. You mentioned early in your book, and I'm quoting here, in nature as in human endeavors, there can be multiple prerequisites for various natural phenomena. And these multiple prerequisites can likewise lead to very skewed distributions of outcomes. In other words, what we try to fix, we create a bigger fix, right?
There is that, but there's this invincible fallacy that in the absence of some special problems, people would have pretty much the same kinds of economic and other achievements. And that defies thousands of years of history. There are so many factors involved that for all those factors to come together the same for one group as for another is virtually impossible. And you can compare any kind of groups around the world. And I sometimes think, that if black and white Americans were the same, these might be the only two groups on this planet that are the same.
Wow. Wow. That's quite a statement. Let me get to this ad. We're going to back that up. I want to hear that again.
Black and white Americans were the same. These might be the only two groups on this planet that are the same.
For the ones in the back.
Welcome to Uncommon Knowledge. I'm Peter Robinson. Be sure to join us, by the way, on Facebook at facebook.com/.
All right, so that was Thomas Sowell on the Fox Business Channel. Hey, more serious stuff. Thomas Sowell reversed his position on Donald Trump. I know he had a slightly negative position on Donald Trump previously in regards to his foreign trade policy. He thought it was going to bring us back to, 1930s global recession type of thing where everybody brings down production. So maybe he's changed his mind on that. Maybe he hasn't. Let's see what he has to say. If you don't know who Thomas Sowell is, okay, read a book. I don't know.
This is the mandatory subject, Donald Trump. During the presidential campaign, you wrote a column, this is when you still had your column, that appeared under the headline, "Choose Trump. He'd be easier to impeach." And you wrote that voters faced a choice between, I'm quoting you, two out-of-control people, one of whom is going to be president. And you said since Hillary Clinton would be the first woman chief executive, she'd be very difficult to impeach, but Trump would be easier to kick out, so vote for Trump. Now that he's been in office for a year, what do you make of him?
Wow. Okay. Okay. Okay, so strong feelings for both of them. Okay.
Well, it's interesting. Oh gosh, let me say that just recently Walter Williams sent me a video of Donald Trump in his mid-30s being interviewed, and so I've had to back off on one of the things I've said, which is that Trump is someone who has simply never grown up. He was very grown up in his mid-30s.
Speaking of retrogression,
and it's scary because how many people are more mature in their mid-30s than they are at age 70?
All right.
And given the trend line, how optimistic should we be about his becoming more grown up as time goes on?
All right. All right.
In terms of the people he's surrounded himself with, I think on the whole, they're a better bunch than either of the last two presidents had. So he has very good people. I think Jim Mattis at
Defense.
Yeah, but other people around him. And the question is he going to listen to them?
All right. Let me play you a brief excerpt of Donald Trump himself. This is from the State of the Union address this past January.
This will be my first time to hear it.
Something I'm very proud of. African American.
That's kind of disappointing to hear. It's the first time he's going to be hearing the State of the Union address. I get you're a busy guy writing books and all, but I mean, if you're going to be as smart as you are and have a public opinion about Trump, I don't know, maybe watch a speech?
Unemployment stands at the lowest rate ever recorded.
Okay.
Oh my!
He produces a maybe the statistic isn't quite right either. Maybe
no, it is. It is.
It is.
Yes.
And there you see a shot. You see Republicans standing and applauding, and there you see a shot of Democrats who are sitting on their hands, including many members of the Black Caucus.
Yes.
In Congress. What do you make of that?
That, as with so many other groups around the world, the leaders of groups that are lagging are often themselves one of the biggest handicaps of those groups, because they have to depict the problems in ways that will allow them to play the role.
The leaders of groups that are lacking are often the biggest problems for those groups. That's a gem.
Rescuers. And so there'll be no talk about how you can do this or that for yourself. There'll be talk about what we can get the government to deliver for you. And usually that's a lot of words and things that have bad effects. And that's true not only with blacks in the United States, it's true of people in the lower income people in England and else.
For our rights, our claims.
All right, guys. So that was Thomas Sowell spitting facts. It says reversing position on Donald Trump. I'm not sure which position he reversed. So I don't know exactly what that means, but it's always good to tune into what this man is saying. He is incredibly smart. But I think this video was like, I don't know, 4 years ago or something. So I don't know. Maybe we'll put it up. Maybe we won't. Check you later.